Don't you think if people from the Eastern Cape, because some of the most celebrated entrepreneurs in South Africa, and I guess politicians are from there, if they were forced to be contained there, don't you think they would develop the place? Sisangebulana almost becomes one of the only guys developing that area. But the rest of the Xhosa businessmen, Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town, but all of that talent in the Eastern Cape could have turned the Eastern Cape into something special.
Unfortunately, migration is as old as humankind.
We wouldn't be able to contain them.
People will always move.
I guess Mandela were also here in Joburg, even with the same...
Yes, people will always move. But, for me, it's a question of...
So you've got a hair in your lash. I don't know if you can see it. It might be bugging you. It's a long one. I'm sure it's gone. Please turn to the side. Other side. Okay, it's still there, but as long as it doesn't bug you.
Okay, no.
As long as it doesn't bug you.
I'm okay. When you speak of our poor people who get angry with the conversations that we are having, the fact that we are not sympathetic, it is our people who are recipients of the social grants of these RDP houses who vote for these leaders in the Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape and Limpopo.
Yes, and in Limpopo. So when you speak of these hospitals, I mean, it's not necessarily the structure. It's the very fact that we continue to vote for the same people who continue to perpetuate, poverty and so on. So if you look at the Western Cape, for example, people, normally make this example that, there are informal settlements and so forth. But the reality is that the people who primarily go to the Western Cape and create these informal settlements are people from the Eastern Cape. So what I normally say is that in the Western Cape, you've got an Eastern Cape problem. But again, you cannot stop.
In the Western Cape, you've got an Eastern Cape problem.
Yes, you've got an Eastern Cape problem.
/ mini Zimbabwe. Well, Eastern Cape is Zimbabwe. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my people in the Eastern Cape, but we'll speak about it another day.
Are you sorry, but because it's the truth? Why are you sorry?
Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah, but then again, you cannot stop human movement because the people in the Eastern Cape who vote for the ANC, they're going to the Eastern Cape, to the Western Cape looking for economic opportunities. Now, the question is, when they come to the Western Cape, because the Western Cape, the interest is white interest, what does the government do? But at the same time, does the budget, is it enough? And I think those are some of the questions that you are asking. But humans, they will always move.
You're saying even with federalism, we wouldn't be able to contain that. And you don't think there'd be an intentional effort to try and develop your Bantustan, you don't think people would think if it's Lesotho or if it's Eswatini, we wanted to, I guess maybe those are great examples. Lesotho and Eswatini are not developing.
I guess unless there's a law that says you can't move.
Because Lesotho and Eswatini maybe then help your argument. You're like, if you want Bantustans, Lesotho is a Sotho Bantustan, Eswatini is a Swati Bantustan. Are they thriving?
They're not.
And if the answer is no, there's your answer right there.
Yes. So you cannot stop human movement. That's why I was saying to you, as much as we are going to complain about Zimbabweans, people will always move where there are better pastures, where there are better economic opportunities.
Better white pastures.
Yes. But the reality is that we as Black people, we are the ones who vote for our own exploitation.
They, not
and
all of
our
us.
own. Well, I speak from
Eastern Cape and Limpopo. Cutting edge.
Yes. But there are many areas where the ANC has done well. I mean, there are areas where the ANC has done well.
Not KwaZulu. KwaZulu. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't support the ANC or MK.
But remember, MK itself is a product of the ANC.
That is a fact. It's a breakaway.
So, for example, you can't say, I mean, I hear people saying, and many MK members, the ANC, it has been total failure. I said, but
the last 30 years.
But President Zuma led the ANC.
Look at what the ANC has done in the last 30 years.
Yes.
Like, ANC was mine.
Yes.
21 by.
I mean, President Zuma led the ANC for over 60 years. So now it's like you are throwing the baby.
As a senior leader. 60.
For over 60 years.
Because I know he was president for 2 terms. He was deputy president for 2 terms.
Yeah, he went
Before
to exile.
that, at some point, I think he was premier. Was he ever premier of KZN?
No, he was not.
No,
he was an MEC.
He was an MEC.
He was the chairperson.
Yeah.
He was the chairperson.
Sorry, you said he went into exile.
Yes. At a very... Yes. So, and how would you stop Zulus from marrying Tswanas? Or Tswanas from marrying? You see, that's why, I mean, Europeans have got one passport. They don't have to worry about these things. That's why I'm saying that we are dealing with issues.
Yes.
Yes. You are literally dealing with issues that Europeans were dealing with. I mean, at some point, even now, the Irish, the Scottish, the Brits.
Yes. Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Yes. So boring. And remove borders. They're boring for everybody.